Yeah. This gonna be the first and the last time that I address this. I don't give a fuck about a spot on your guest list. Already bossed up, number one on the blessed list. You in a dead zone, so you probably won't get this. I am the dopest one in here. My presence alone invokes fear. Jealousy fills you when I'm near. But I gets the paper, so I don't care.
Hi everybody, this is Backstory. I'm your host David Briggs. So today we're here to get the backstory on my good friend Prynce Charles Kennedy. And yeah, and we're gonna find out like what brought him here. First though, first question I have for you.
Yeah.
Tell us about the name.
So my name, Prynce Charles Kennedy.
Yeah.
That happened through a process in my life. I was born something else.
Right. Okay.
He who will not be named, don't play with me. So I was born something else. And when I was real young, I just had no connection to that. And it got to the point where I felt like people were like saying the name at me and not to me. So I kind of knew. I was really aware of myself from a very young age.
Didn't feel like it fit.
No, it didn't fit. It definitely didn't fit. So what happened was I was Charlie for a long time, just Charlie.
Charlie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that happened by accident. I had an obsession with Snoopy. And at one point when I was real young, somebody gave me this bald haircut. And I was short and fat, and I had a bald haircut. And the other name, I guess people had a problem pronouncing it. So when they looked at me, they just saw Charlie Brown.
Okay, so the birth name, it was tricky.
Yeah.
And then that nickname, that picked up.
Yeah, definitely. And then so people was just calling me Charlie Brown for like a long time. And then that just kind of stuck, and it just kind of made sense.
You have that on your arm,
Yeah,
Charlie right there.
And it just kind of stuck with, my close friends and my peoples. And I was in the process of changing my name at that time legally. But once you go to prison, they put all that shit on hold. And for people who don't know, when you go to change your name, if you're not doing it for reasons like marriage or some shit like that, you got to write these motherfuckers a whole essay and explain why and all this other.
Really?
Yeah, Dad had to do that. But then I went to jail, so they put it on hold.
Also, it was in limbo.
Yeah, so I had no name for a little while. And then...
Well, what did you have people call you, Charlie?
Yeah, everybody still call me Charlie. And then Prynce Charles happened, with the development of the music thing. And when I went to prison, a certain incident happened. And... That's for a whole nother backstory.
Yeah. At what age? Just give me the general age where this is happening.
I first changed it when I was 13. So 13.
In your life, you were using it.
Yes, definitely.
At 13, and then legally it happened later.
I started the process at 19, and then when I was 20 something, I had to get in and out of jail. Go through that process of serving time, and then when I came out, and I was on probation. They weren't going to approve it. But then my probation officer was like, sure, why not? Like, they keep your DNA. We know who the fuck he is. Yeah. So they let me change it.
Yeah, and they do it for people who get married. What's the difference? If you want to change your name, it's your...
Yeah, but I mean, it's rules. Like, you just can't change it to certain shit.
Really?
Yeah, and the court wants to know. A person has to approve it. They have to feel like, what is the reason that you want... And I had a good enough reason. The court, obviously, they agreed, but...
Okay, so tell me about the conception of it. Prynce Charles, that came, just sort of grew out of, you were Charlie, and then doing music. Where did the Kennedy part come from? In your thinking?
It just happened, all of it happened so organically. I don't know.
But you were consciously mixing the idea of two royalties, right? You
definitely
were doing that on purpose.
The idea of the family aspect and the infamy of the Kennedys is what drew me to the name. That's what really did it.
So Prynce Charles Kennedy.
Yeah, because a lot of people were thinking it was Prince Charles from England.
Right.
I wasn't paying that dude no mind. I wasn't paying no attention. Right. And then a lot of people was thinking it was Prince the singer because I was a singer. But no, I wasn't paying him no mind.
Right.
It all stemmed from the Charlie Brown thing.
So you changed the I to Y, by the way.
I changed the Y. I changed the I to Y. That's based on my sister, my actual birth sister. Her name is Monica. Shout out to Monica. When I was a kid, we were pen pals. So this is my father's daughter. She's older than me. But we were pen pals. And she was like the first black girl. She was a fucking superstar to me. She went to college. She moved away. She joined the sorority. She was a cheerleader. She was fucking lit. Like, and that was the closest example of a black girl from the hood doing stuff like that, you know, for me.
For you.
Yeah, so she was a fucking rock star, but her name was spelled with a Y instead of an I. So when, you know, it came time to paperwork, that was my homage to her, because we physically weren't together. We didn't actually meet each other until we were adults, and that was fairly recently.
Yeah.
And then we only got to see each other one time, but we were pen pals at first, and then, you know, Facebook, we kept up with each other. Yeah. But that was always my little nod to her, because she always just inspired me to get out the hood and do something.
Yeah,
I don't even know if she knows that. That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you're watching, Mo, you know I love you.
yeah, that's great, and she should know that story. It's a great way to start. Like, that's the genesis of who you are today, and we can talk about now, you know, where you came from within all that. Anyway, it's just great to hear, you know, this name that you created for yourself, or who you are now. Yeah.
I definitely knew who I was very early on.
Yeah.
So I figured I have to, you know, have a name that reflects that, and not reflect something that represents something else. Because the other name was a representation of something else that somebody else had created and put on me.
That you shit don't fit. Connection to.
No, it don't fit me. You're trying to squeeze me into something that don't fit.
Yeah.
First of all, everybody relax. I got this.
Right. No, I don't know. It's really fascinating. The power of words, the power of name. And, you know, how you can. And it was your freedom. It was and now it's legal. It's really is truly.
Yeah, but it's been legal for like 20 some odd years now at this point. So.
Yeah. I love the backstory on that. Okay, let's move to your backstory of, you know, where you are today. You're so talented. You make music. You're a singer. You're a rapper. You create. You design. You make things. So I want to get to the roots of all that. Where were you born? Where were you first?
I was born in the Bronx, but I grew up in Harlem.
How long were you in the Bronx?
Not too long. Like the single digit years. I was kind of in the Bronx, you know, through the very early years.
And what was the family system like?
I was with my grandma for like the first whole part of my life until like 7, 8. Then she passed away. Then I went to go live with my mom.
So up until that point, you weren't living with your parents. You were living with your grandmother.
No, parents. Well, my dad was doing whatever he was doing. My mom's was working. So I saw my mom's on a weekend.
Okay.
But at that point, I was so young that it was like a weekend vibe. It wasn't that.
Your grandmother raised you.
Yeah. That was my whole entire heart right there, my grandma.
Yeah.
So then I moved with my mom's at a certain point once my grandma passed away. And then that just did not work out well at all. Like, at all. Yeah. Then it didn't go too well.
And that was in Harlem, right? You want to pinpoint where, like what part?
No, I was in the Bronx at that point. My mom's was still in the Bronx.
Oh, and you ended up living with her full time before Harlem?
Yeah, I ended up living with her full time before I got to Harlem.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Before I got there, I lived there full time, and then
and it wasn't going well.
Nah, it just wasn't good. There was a lot of like abuse going on in my life from a young age, even the times when I was at my grandma's. So it was just, who knows how to deal with that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And then when I got to my mom's house, the whole situation was just weird. I really didn't know her like that on that level.
Right.
And I'm just coming into this weird situation, and then dealing with the stuff with the abuse that's still on my brain. And we just didn't click. Something wasn't working for me. You know what it is? If you put a child in an adult situation, you can't expect them to respond like an adult.
Right.
When you do that as an adult, you stupid. That's what that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main things that was bugging me out, because how you expect a child to respond like an adult?
Meanwhile, you're probably missing your grandma bad, because you came from an environment where you were loved and nurtured, and now it's the opposite.
Yeah. But luckily I had a good foundation with that. You know, my grandma showed me all the love in the world, and she let me know there's no other person that could tell me I'm good enough. I'm good enough. Nobody has to convince me of that. Nobody can reaffirm. You can't even reaffirm it for me. I know that.
she instilled that belief in you for
Hell
yourself.
yeah, hell yeah, definitely.
I mean, you're so lucky. I mean, how think about how many kids don't even get that, you know?
Yeah. So that's the part that, you know, I held on to and I still hold on to, you know, right now in my life.
Right.
It's just like that.
I have to ask, at one point in your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
there was some misunderstanding about cereal.
Hell fucking yeah.
When
First
was
of all,
this? Where was this? In the Bronx or Harlem?
This is
What?
in the Bronx.
Okay.
I might have been like 6 or 7 years old. So again, kid, I was a child. Okay, so nobody can judge me for this shit. But I was young, so I don't know what the fuck the movie was. It might have been Freddy Krueger or like Friday the 13th, one of those movies. But I heard the word serial killer. And without an adult to explain to me what a serial killer was, my child brain assumed that it was somebody who killed you while you was trying to eat cereal. So that's when I started my boycott. I was not eating no cereal. And then I'm thinking like it's a conspiracy, like the adults is trying to kill us through the cereal. Something is wrong here. Something with murder and the cereal is together. So I stopped eating it. And then I found out from like the older kids that I was bugging. So
How long did you go without eating
about
cereal?
2 weeks, about 2 whole weeks. Too hungry as fuck in the morning. Terrible.
You wouldn't eat it.
Hell no.
No.
And then I was
You're
even
not
trying
going to get me that way.
No, I was trying to warn other kids, but nobody listened.
It's a serial killer.
It's a serial killer. You can't eat them fucking cornflakes, you're gonna die.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I love that. I think that's a really good point. Adults putting you in an adult situation, expecting you to be able to respond like an adult would.
Yeah. And especially in those extreme situations, you can't, what do you expect from a kid? You know what I mean? So you as an adult, number one, should know better. You've already went through childhood, you went through things, you experienced things, and you got to the point of being an adult and being able to respond the way you do. For you to expect that out of a child and then want to be angry and punish the child for not responding like an adult, listen, all of y'all people over there, no disrespect, go have a good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go enjoy your day.
Yeah.
I invite you to do that. Just enjoy your day.
You have so many stories about this time in Harlem.
Yeah.
At what point did music start entering your life? What?
Early, very, very, very early.
Oh.
First, in my grandma's house, my uncles used to sing all the time.
Oh.
These motherfuckers used to sing so good, I thought they was the records. They would be harmonizing with each other from different rooms, not really interacting with each other, but they was all singing the same song, different parts. You hear my uncle come through with the bass, then my uncle come through with the high notes, and I'm like, these, not really even like not talking to each other, walking past
Just
each other.
instinctively.
Oh, it was so dope. So I constantly had that. My mom performed, my dad performed. So it was constantly in the house.
In the house.
All the time.
Did you ever see them perform publicly?
No, I saw like newspaper clippings and stuff like that of them. But that was like.
But it was in the house, all around you.
Constantly, music was everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it was real dope.
Yeah.
But I knew one day I was in the projects and I was out with my older cousin, stayed out too late, and ended up trying to rush and get home. I was running past the community center in the projects.
Okay.
And I heard this music coming from the community center from one of the windows.
Uh-huh.
And when I looked in the window, I saw these like teens dancing and doing choreography to a Slick Rick song.
Were they older than you?
Older than me, yeah.
You were young, still young.
I was young. I was still young.
Great.
I was single digits. These was like 17, 18-year-olds. You know, they looked so cool and swaggy. But I saw them dancing to the music. I could not fucking believe it. What I saw, it was so dope. I stood there for so long. I got my ass whooped again just for being extra late, getting upstairs. But
you couldn't. You were like,
I couldn't.
Magnetized.
I knew that was it. I said, whatever this is, I'm in this. Like whatever I got to do to get there, to do this kind of stuff, to be able to create this kind of stuff. Oh, I definitely want a part of that. Yeah.
I think it's so great, you know, and to be at different parts in your life and to be able to reflect back and look at a specific moment.
Yeah, that moment.
That was that.
There was several, but that was the one that I'll never forget. That just standing there looking through the glass and just seeing them all just move in sync with each other and just it was so fucking dope. Yeah.
Oh my God. So it started with dance choreography.
Yeah, it started with there. And then singing also, like you'd be singing in the house, they would stop the song and tell you to sing the part, the adults, like seriously, or they would call you in the room. Usually adults would like get out the room, but these motherfuckers would sometimes call you in and tell you to sing or some shit like that. But you had to keep it in the house. It's fun in the house. Don't take that shit outside.
Really?
Yeah, it was very, very weird.
Why?
I don't
Any
fucking
explanation?
know. No, that I don't know. I never fucking decided to inquire about it. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
Wow, that is very strange.
Yeah, that was just the vibe back
It's
then.
not
I
to
don't know.
show off, it's to be shared. I don't know, what is that about?
Because you weren't allowed to take that stuff seriously. At the end of the day, you were supposed to get a job somewhere
I see.
and go work for the city somewhere in some capacity, and that was going to be your life. That's what they had planned for me.
Yeah.
So the music thing is fun.
Was that their lives?
Yeah. All of them, all of them, every single one of them.
Yeah.
So that was the vibes. But
Yeah, you're a kid too.
hell, fucking no. It was like the art was like magic to me. Being able to create was like a whole nother world. Like I could escape all the bullshit that was going on, in my young life on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And just get consumed
Lost
by a song or
right.
go get some kids together and make up dances and shit like that. Like
right. Just embrace the
lost in that shit.
creativity.
Yeah. And then after a while, once I got to my mom's house, it didn't last long. It was in between me running away and her kicking me out back and forth. That just was not the place for me. Like that, I knew her. I was very self-aware. So again, that's one of those things. Go, have a good day.
Right, live your life.
Yeah, because I know
me
this.
alone.
There's one subject on the whole planet that nobody knows better than me. That's me. Only that one subject. Everything else is debatable, questionable. We can talk about it. But when it comes
I can attest to the fact that you're good in other subjects too.
Yeah, playing, don't play with me. That's one thing I know better than anybody else.
Yeah.
Is me. And you know what? I took the time to learn myself. Y'all didn't take the time to learn me. So that in itself, you just lost. You know what I mean?
I know. That's what I like about this whole idea of us talking about backstory and looking back at your life and looking for everybody. Like, look at that. What was the one moment that got you excited? It doesn't have to be, it could be anything. Look for those moments in your life.
And then you make a choice, because I had a lot of bad moments. I just chose to keep the good ones with me.
Yeah.
Every so often you go through the luggage and throw out the bad shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the point of carrying that around? So all of that shit, it didn't even have a chance to really bother me or affect me, because the world was waiting for me. You know what I mean? Not your approval or what you think I should be doing or who I should be. Listen, good luck. Again,
where does that come from? To have that inner strength to know that. Yeah, that's great.
It was my grandma's foundation.
Okay, yeah, right.
It was the foundation of that. I was already good.
Right.
So there was
knew you had been loved.
I'm not checking for y'all for anything. I'm good.
Right.
I'm so good.
In the end, was it being thrown out or leaving?
Thrown out.
Thrown out was the last one.
Yeah.
So now what's happening with your life out on the streets? You're in school, you're in public school?
I was in school. I was in a private school. I went to the Boys Choir of Harlem. Shout out to the Boys Choir of Harlem.
We're going to have to get into that, but maybe not tonight, this one. But yeah. That's
that was music boot camp. But I went to the choir, and I was in and out homelessness at the same time. So it was a lot of parallel things going on, because in school we got to go on tour. So we got to go to different countries, different states. I was out of town a lot. And then when I came back, I was homeless.
How did you navigate that? What did you do? You'd go to school.
It was pretty, it was crazy. The crazy part is it was pretty easy. I had a lot of fucking help.
Yeah.
I had so much fucking help. And then I just kind of was always trying to work on myself and work for myself. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when people see you working and not getting somewhere, they were kind of more inclined to help me because they saw me trying and going so hard.
Right.
They like, you know what, we see you doing something. We help you out a little bit.
Right. We can lend you a hand. Right?
Yeah. So I just kept that going. I was always trying to do something better for myself. Always trying to make a move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had outlets. You know what I mean? I did stuff. I did music.
Right.
I danced, all that stuff. So I had stuff to distract me. Yeah. From that.
Where would you sleep at night?
Something on the A train. I was sleeping. Shout to the A train.
Because that's a
Oh,
long. That's
shit.
one of the longer lines.
Let me tell you, and I was strategic about that too. Because at first I was on some other train line, but then like you get to the last stop in 30 minutes. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
If you go to the A train to go to Far Rockaway, it's called Far Rockaway for a reason. It's far. So you be on the train forever getting to the last stop.
Yeah.
So that's the train line I decided to get
to
on.
make your home at night.
Hell fucking yeah. I'll put my arms in my hoodie and then the hood on and I go to sleep. By the time I wake up, I'll be somewhere in New York that I can figure out, okay, I'm a couple of stops from somewhere where I need to go. And then I had a friend in Brooklyn. In the mornings, his mom was a teacher at a different school than ours. Me and him went to the same school.
Okay.
So she used to get dressed and get up and get ready and then leave, and then he would get ready because the teachers had to be there earlier than the students.
Sure, right.
So once she left, I go to his house, take a shower, eat like half of his breakfast, and then we be out the door.
Yeah.
And then we did that for a while. You know, like it all depended on where I woke up at, what stop.
Right.
Life was a fucking crazy ass adventure. And then
Who
like,
knew about that?
who knew? I had a couple of people.
A couple of friends.
I had a small circle of people who knew. The people who I went to their house, they knew.
Yeah.
And then probably their siblings knew. It was a couple of people who knew. I didn't give a fuck.
When did you do your homework?
In school.
Oh, you would. Okay, you wouldn't leave school until your homework.
All that shit had to be finished in school. Because one thing I didn't want to happen is being behind or being fucked up. Because if you had bad grades, you couldn't go on tour.
Oh, with the choir.
Yeah. So I wanted to get
You
the
had
fuck
to
out of
maintain
town.
grades.
Hell yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to stay in them nice hotels and do hell fucking yeah. Yes, I am.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna keep the grades up. I'm gonna keep my performances up, and I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, so I did that. I just made it happen.
Your
for
stories
myself.
about the choir, but I want to get back to the streets and the family that you formed there and how that all evolved and everything.
The streets was crazy. First of all, a lot of people who didn't know I was homeless, they used to really think like I was the flyest dude ever and that I never wore anything twice, and it was a lot of stuff going on about me. But let me tell you what happened. Let me give the backstory on that one. There was this particular store in the city. I'm not going to say the name because I don't know about statutes and limitations. That you know what I mean. You want
Copyright infringements.
You want statute of liberty me, bitch? Nah, but I used to go to this store every morning and still close. Now, for some reason, this store will open at 8, but LPs wasn't getting there until 9. LP means loss prevention. So the people who make sure nobody's stealing wouldn't get there until an hour after the store opened. So in that first hour, that the store was open, I would go right to men's department, and it was a struggle because I'm a tall dude. So I would try to find something that fit, try to find something that worked. I would go to the fitting room, put it on underneath my sweatsuit, and then I walk out. Nobody's checking for me.
And that was before the days they had those tags that would go off and all that.
Oh, but I knew how to pop those. That was nothing. I was in the streets. I had to make sure that I was
You were
good.
surviving.
Yeah, then I couldn't be showing up places because even though I was homeless, I was still doing music, still writing songs, still performing, still trying to get my homeless ass to the studio. I had to be around people, so I didn't want to be showing up looking like the homeless guy. Like, bad enough I had to live there. I just could not be seen in it because once you go to a place and somebody's like, hey, I like that shirt. If I come here tomorrow and you see the same shirt, it's like, come on, bro.
Oh, that was my
Yeah.
world. I would finally find
Your
one
bum ass.
piece that people thought was cool, and then that was all I had. And then so by the next week, it's like,
Like, that's it. So every morning. And then the store, listen, I used to rock out in this store. I used to be in there stealing stuff all the time. It was crazy. I don't understand how they didn't realize I was stealing stuff. I never bought anything. You know how sometimes you go to the
and
register.
you would recognize the people, the workers, after a while?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, and hey, good morning. Hey, I'm going to check out. Y'all fucking idiots.
Have you ever seen me buy anything?
Nah. But and you know what? I'm grateful it worked out. I never got caught up. I went to prison for something completely separate. But
We'll get there in
for
time.
that,
probably.
I never got in any trouble, any problems. And then I always had nice, clean clothes.
When did you had another key relative that came into your life at a certain point that really...
Yeah, my Aunt Jackie.
When did all that happen?
That's my baby. So one of my good friends, who's still one of my good friends, and once I met him, he took me to meet his moms, and his moms was like the greatest fucking human on the planet. Like, I don't know, she was just, I don't know. It's like words can't really describe her. She's like one of the dopest humans I ever came across. So she kind of took me in and, you know, just made sure I was good, make sure I ate. If I stink, she told me I stink, baby, go get your ass in the shower. When I needed food, she fed me. When I needed to talk, she listened to me talk, even though I was, you know, young and shit like that. So she just had a big impact on my life. And she was another person that stressed to me to value your time. She was just making sure I was using my time wisely. And I was, you know, those moments I had, I was productive. Moments I had alone, I would learn stuff that applied to when I got back into, you know, in front of people, then, you know, I could be productive. So it was a constant.
You're self-educating all the time?
Definitely. But again, help from people.
Right, support.
It was another situation where I'm blessed for them. But on Jackie, she's still in my life. I love her so much. That's my baby.